So we got this 2K.
Bill, it's no secret that your heart lies in Boston.
Anyway,
Just what was it
we
like
got this
growing up
2K gameplay,
in and around that area?
and I
Well,
like to
it's
talk
definitely the
about
reason I like
basketball.
sports
So
as much
I'm
as
gonna
I do
be
because
giving you
it's so
guys my predictions, and I wanted to talk about today's NBA's top players first, though.
sports obsessed.
All right, so my top five
Nowadays,
NBA
what does summer
players.
feel like? Where there's 5 months a year that
Number
just
one
and
is Kawhi Leonard. I think Kawhi Leonard's the best player in the NBA because, for one, he just recently won a championship with him being the only superstar on the team. So that has to count for something. The last player, well, I can't even remember the last player that won the championship without another superstar on his team. I would say maybe the Spurs, but no, they had three stars. Not superstars, but they had three stars. Another thing that makes me believe that Kawhi Leonard is the number one player in the league is because, okay, remember when Kawhi injured his ankle in the Golden State series? I think it was in 2017. Yeah, 2017. The Spurs were up by 20 points. Like the way that Kawhi Leonard could kind of, how would you say this? The way that Kawhi Leonard like orchestrates a defense, I wouldn't say orchestrate because he's not what you would consider a vocal leader, but just his presence and his basketball IQ, it really helps a team on defense. Like it could change an entire team's defense. It could change it from mediocre to one of the elite defenses in the league. Just his presence alone. And he's able to guard point guards, shooting guards, small forwards. And sometimes you might even be able. Nowadays, you could stick Kawhi on the floor and he'd be able to guard him, just because he has long arms and what is he, 6'8", 6'9", and he's quick on his feet, but he's strong too. Yeah, so I gotta out of KD, LeBron, Giannis, Harden, whoever you like, I will pick Kawhi Leonard first, just because he's a winner and he plays defense, and defense wins championships, as Toronto Raptors proved last year. Number two on my list, I got Giannis from the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Um, okay, a lot of people might give me flack for this, and they might say LeBron's better, Steph Curry's better, James Harden is better than Giannis, Kawhi Leonard's better than Giannis. I, at this point, no. Giannis is very underrated just because people kind of take him for granted because he doesn't shoot the three ball very well. And people nowadays, they love the three pointer. The media loves the three, the fans love the three, the players, they love the three. So yeah, Giannis doesn't shoot the three ball very well, so sometimes his skills kind of get like, how would you say, it's like lost in the shuffle, you could say, or like people take him for granted. Let's just stick with that phrase. People take his skills for granted. He's 6'10". He's very linky, but at the same time, the way he can handle a ball and grab a rebound and push the ball up the court, that's impressive. Like guys like Tim Duncan, KG, um, who else? Who else? Yeah, like guys like Tim Duncan and KG, they really couldn't do that. The old school power forwards, like Chris Webber. Those were primarily back to the basket type of guys, but they needed playmakers on their team to, facilitate the offense and to get them open looks. Giannis doesn't need that necessarily. Like once he gets his 3-point shot, he's he's like LeBron James on steroids. Like I think for like maybe 2 or 3 years, Giannis is going to have some numbers that were way better than LeBron's, just because as a player I feel like he's more skilled or just as skilled as LeBron. The numbers are going to look better because nowadays the offenses in the NBA are so high tempo, you could say. Their teams love to push the ball in transition. You could say that teams love to push the ball in transition. And yeah, Giannis, Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, those guys kind of get taken for granted. Not Ben Simmons. A lot of people actually overrate Ben Simmons, but guys like Giannis and Julius Randle definitely get taken for granted. And I'll be talking about Julius Randle later, but not to get ahead of myself. So who else do we got on the list? Okay, number one was Kawhi Leonard. Number two was Giannis, the MVP, and he would have made it to the Eastern Conference Championships, by the way, if Toronto didn't beat him. And people say, oh well, Kawhi locked Giannis down. Giannis had like 22 points in Game Six, and a bunch of rebounds and a few assists. So he did kind of slow things down, but it was a low scoring game, and Giannis, he still did his part. So you can't really blame him for them losing to Toronto. Okay, number three on my list. So first was Kawhi, two Giannis, number three is LeBron James. Yes, a lot of people are giving LeBron James flack and saying, oh, he's washed after last year because he doesn't play a lot of defense or whatever, whatever. And then they like the media, they love fucking talking about that clip where against Memphis when Kuzma shoved LeBron in the back to try to get him to run out on the shooter. Look, LeBron's in his mid 30s. So he's not a Michael Jordan. He has a bigger frame. So I don't know, defensively, some of the things that you expect him to do or want him to do, physically at this point in his career, he's not able to do that, or he won't he wouldn't be able to replicate guys like Jordan or Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, those kind of players, because on offense he's asked to do so much. He has to bring the ball up. He has to bring the ball up the court. He has to initiate the offense. He has to run plays. He always has the ball in his hand, and LeBron plays a lot of minutes. So but even with all those things working against him, he's still number three. I still consider him to be uh you know one of the elite players in the NBA, top five. Last year he averaged what 25 7 to 7, 27 7 to 7, something like that. So my stats, I'm not really a stat guy. I hate when people go off of advanced stats and analytics and all that bullshit. No, you need to watch the game, and that will tell you everything you need to know about the players. So yeah, I'm not really a stat guy. But yeah, LeBron is the third best player. Maybe after this season he might drop down a few spots. I do see LeBron James declining, you could say. It won't be like a big dip, because he stays in shape. And with technology nowadays, like you can play forever. Look at Tom Brady. I know that's football, but football and basketball are both competitive sports. So whatever. Number four on my list, I got Klay Thompson. And a lot of people are probably going to give me shit for saying this, but yes, I do think Klay Thompson is better than Stephen Curry, and he's better than James Harden. Klay Thompson is very, 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 very underrated. So where do I even begin with this? Um, why I think Klay Thompson is better than Harden? For one, he's a better defender. Klay Thompson is an elite defender, and he's the only player I know of since Ray Allen. that can go out on the floor, guard your best wing player, and then go back on offense, run off screens, and shoot open threes. I don't think I don't think people understand how difficult that is to do and what type of toll it takes on your knees and your legs. Which that probably could have been the reason why he tore his ACL, but it worked for him for so many years. Damn, it worked for him for 5 straight years. So yeah, I definitely think Klay Thompson is better than James Harden. Uh, Klay Thompson, he is definitely more skilled. Well, offensively, James Harden is more skilled than Klay Thompson. But as an all-around player, Klay Thompson, in my opinion, I think is more skilled than Harden and Curry. Klay Thompson shoots just as well as Steph Curry. Uh, he plays defense better than Steph Curry. And if he didn't have Steph Curry on his team, Kevin Durant on his team, Draymond Green on his team, do you know what type of numbers this dude would be putting up? He'd be putting up the same numbers or even more against the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference, and he'd be putting up the same numbers or more than James Harden. James Harden has the numbers he has because he has a high usage rate. He always has the down ball in his hands. And Mike D'Antoni runs nothing but pick and roll and isolation plays. And James Harden, you cannot guard that man one on one. He's going to eat you alive. But if you were to swap Harden and Klay Thompson would be putting up those same numbers. Plus, on the defensive end, he'd probably be locking up your best player. Number four on my list, or excuse me, number five on my list is Anthony Davis, and I already, I already have a controversial list already, but man, I know the NBA people are probably freaking out right now. But Anthony Davis is number five on my list. Um, he's similar to like DeMarcus Cousins when he was healthy. Carl Anthony Towns. Uh, yeah. So Anthony Davis is a very, very underrated player, and I don't even know where to begin. The Pelicans made this man look so bad because they did not have the proper team around him. But yeah, Anthony Davis, he was able to get his team to the playoffs. What, twice? The first time, the first time I think they got swept by Golden State, and the second time, Golden State beat them in the second round when the Pelicans picked up Rajon Rondo. So yeah, I don't know if you play fantasy basketball, but man, if there was a point in time where I used to play fantasy basketball every day, FanDuel and a few other fantasy sports platforms I used to use, but mostly FanDuel. This guy, Anthony Davis, puts up the same crazy stats as like a Russell Westbrook, a James Harden, um, who else? Yeah, his stats look better than LeBron's, and is consistently too, and it's not just points. Anthony Davis, Anthony Davis can kill you on the glass. He can kill you on defense. He's quick. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the two. He can post up. He has a decent dribble. He's a decent ball handler. Anthony Davis is so underrated, and I think that this year with the Lakers, he'll actually be able to display his skills on a stage that he's hasn't had the chance to be on yet. With a team that can actually get to the playoffs and win. He hasn't been in that position. So him and LeBron should work good together. Okay, so yeah, that's my top five. Maybe if you want to throw in a six or seven, I had James Harden at six and then Steph Curry at seven. So Yes, I do think Klay Thompson is a better player than James Harden. Uh, yeah, don't get mad about it. So, next topic I wanted to talk about playoff teams for the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. We got so how about this? We'll go with the East first and then we'll talk about the West. I know some of you guys might not agree, so if you don't, comment or whatever. So, East Coast, I got Boston number one. Boston, they pretty much swapped out Kyrie Irving for Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker is a great locker room guy. Um, he seems like the type of guy to get along with all his teammates. He scores the ball a lot, but he also passes too. I remember the last time the Hornets went to the playoffs, which was like 2 or 3 years ago. Jeremy Lin was his backup, and those two guys were in sync. Uh, Kimba played his role. Jeremy Lin played his role. They never interfered with each other, and they worked good on the court, man. They for a team with not much talent, they played well together. So if you pair Kimba Walker with a guy like Marcus Smart and Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum, he's gonna be able to show you things that he hasn't been able to show you in Charlotte. You know, so Charlotte he has some talented players too. Don't get me wrong. He had the Nicholas Batums and Jeremy Lambs, but Marvin Williams. But those guys aren't nearly as talented as Boston's young players. And don't forget Gordon Hayward. Yeah, so I got Boston at number one. Boston, maybe people might say, well, well, Philly is better than Boston, or Milwaukee's better than Boston. No, Philly maybe because they got Al Horford, but they lost they lost so much shooting, like it's crazy. They who Landry they lost Landry Shamet, they lost JJ Redick. So guys like that are not easily replaced, especially JJ Redick. JJ Redick is a savvy vet, and he's talented, okay? He can shoot. Not a lot of guys can shoot like that under pressure. And I know people might say, well, he takes open shots and he needs guys to get him open. He's not that good. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Um, when the Warriors lost to Cleveland in the finals, Harrison Barnes was out there clanking wide open jump shots from the corner. So guys that can shoot under pressure like Kyle Korver, Bradley Beal, uh, JJ Redick, like I said, you know, dudes that could just go out there, play their role, spread the floor. Joe Harris from Brooklyn Nets, guys like that, that are consistent and they knock down open shots. You know when you pass it to them when they shoot it is going in, that is a skill, open or guarded. It doesn't matter. So yeah, Philly, they lost a lot of shooting. They're still talented. Don't get me wrong. They are still talented, but they're not as good as Boston. And I think they're collectively as a team, they're not as good as the Milwaukee Bucks. Which leads to my number two pick in the Eastern Conference, the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks will be number two, three, or four in the Eastern Conference when it's time for the playoffs. Uh, I think Giannis is going to have a great year. You already know that Giannis is going to have a great year. You know that Middleton is going to give you solid numbers. Bledsoe is going to give you solid numbers. Um, but it's about the others, you know. I don't know Milwaukee's roster top to bottom, but Michael Budenholzer is a good coach. He brings out the best in his players, and that's gonna come in handy for the Bucks, you know, because they're experienced. They have vets on their team. They have good leaders on their team. They know how to play together. They know how to play defense. They know how to move the ball, and they shoot the three-point ball very well. So you know, as Gianna's game develops, um, Milwaukee will get better. And they don't. All they. I'll say this: if Milwaukee somehow manages to get another superstar and to keep Giannis, you know, they could run. They could run with Giannis, Middleton, the other superstar, and a bunch of bums, and they'll probably get to the finals. That's how well coached they are, and that's how good of a player Giannis is. Okay, so number three, I got Philly. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Al Horford, Tobias Harris. They're gonna kill you on a lot of nights. You know, Philly. I'm a Lakers fan, but Philly used to come in the Staples Center and they've been kicking our ass for like the last 2 or 3 years. They're good. I can't hate on them. They're good. But do they have what it takes to be a Eastern Conference team, a Eastern Conference championship team, or a finals contender? No, they don't. I'm sorry, they don't. For one, they're never healthy when it matters. Joel Embiid last year was catching stomach flus and suffering from all these weird different injuries. Like the guy when he first came into the league, he was injured. So you know that plays a big part in why I'm not putting Philly too high on my list because they have a lot of injury prone guys on their roster. Like Tobias Harris is not injury prone. Ben Simmons is not injury prone. But if you lose Embiid or Horford, you know, it's gonna rock the boat a little bit. And can those other guys step up and win games for you? No. Ben Simmons is a good player and Tobias Harris is a good player. Like, will they be competitive? Yes, they will. But you know, without Embiid and Horford, if they got injured, or even if one of those guys got injured, it's going to be trouble for Philly, especially with their lack of shooting, and they got all these new players coming in, and players that we don't really know about. You know, Brent Brown, he's a good coach, but he's not that good of a coach. And to me, in my opinion, I think Philadelphia needs to fire him. But you know, that's just my opinion. After this year, we'll see. This year is kind of gonna be like the measuring stick of Philly's talent and their development in the past few years. If I was Philly, to be honest, I don't know. I would trade Tobias Harris or Joel Embiid because the lineup that they have right now is not a championship lineup. They they might get lucky and make it to the finals. During the regular season, like yeah, they'll kill you. But in the playoffs, when teams are really able to focus in on them, Ben Simmons, yes, people have been saying he's working on his jump shot. He's shooting better. He's practicing his jump shot. Like the man can't shoot, and he can't shoot free throws. He's he's a bigger version of Markel Fultz, which I hope he comes back and plays well in Orlando. But yeah, he's a bigger version of Markel Fultz. Like yeah, the man can't shoot, and it's gonna be really hard for Philly to spread the floor when they don't have shooters. They need more shooters. Like they gotta trade for somebody. So who knows? Maybe Elton Brand will make a few moves and they'll they'll get a player in there that could help them out, help them to space the floor. Number four, I got the Detroit Pistons. So number one, I got Boston. Two, I got Milwaukee. Three, I got Philly. Four, I have Detroit. And I was kind of torn with this one. I wanted to put Indiana at number four, but I decided to go with Detroit just because they added Derrick Rose, and They already have Blake Griffin, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, Luke Kennard. They got some solid guys. So with Derrick Rose offensively, that's gonna put them on another level if he's able to stay healthy. Like if he could just do what he did last year for the Timberwolves in Detroit, they'll be a playoff team for sure, and they might even get to the second round. So will they get to like the Eastern Conference Finals or something like that? I doubt it. Like Andre Drummond has to show me something. Like Andre Drummond has to come out and have a career year and be an MVP candidate. But if Andre Drummond isn't able to do that, then no, I don't see Detroit getting out of the first round of the playoffs. But I do have them number four in the East when the season ends. It's kind of high, you know. Some teams towards the bottom of my list that could be higher in the East, but I like Detroit. Okay, so number five, I got Indiana. Hopefully Victor Oladipo comes back healthy. He had a gruesome knee injury that took him out for the season. They added Malcolm Brogdon. They got Dante Sabonis. You know, they don't got big names, but they have some talented guys. Excuse me, Dante Sabonis is on Cleveland now. Or no, is he on Indiana? I don't know. I think Dante Sabonis is still on Indiana. But yeah, Indiana, they're gonna be a tough team. But it all depends on if Victor Oladipo is able to come back. If he isn't able to come back at the start of the season, they're gonna struggle bad, and they might not make the playoffs. I forgot about Miles Turner. Miles Turner, if they could get a career year from him, it'll probably take them to the playoffs. But I don't know. Indiana might advance, but they're gonna run into one of those Eastern Conference juggernauts, which is Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, Brooklyn, which I'll get to later. They're gonna run into one of those teams and they're gonna lose. Um, let's be realistic. Indiana is not going to make it far. I love Victor Oladipo, but he's only one man, and they need to put another star player with that man. So one superstar can only carry you so far, you know. No matter Kobe couldn't even get out the first round with the Lakers, and it's Kobe Bryant. Like he scored 81 points in the game. So if Kobe couldn't do it by himself, then who the hell is Victor Oladipo? Number six, I got the Brooklyn Nets, which they might end up being a little higher on the list. Uh, Brooklyn, why I think that they'll be a threat this year. They were decent last year, and you swapped out Kyrie Irving for D'Angelo Russell. Uh, D'Angelo Russell, he's a great player, but he's not Kyrie Irving. I was watching some of the Brooklyn games, and who did they play? I think they played Philly. I'm not sure. Yeah, they. I think they played Philly, but Philly was able to like lock in on that team on defense, and like he was able to like take away like the driving lanes and the passing lanes. Like they really slowed down the game, you know. And D'Angelo Russell, he's a good player, but as a scorer, he's nowhere near Kyrie Irving's level. Like Kyrie is on another level when it comes to isolation scoring, or just a player that could go out there and get you buckets under pressure. D'Angelo Russell will eventually turn into that player, but right now he's not a Kyrie Irving, and that's no disrespect to D'Angelo Russell because he's talented, but Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving. So when you pair Kyrie Irving with guys like Spencer Dinwiddie and Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, um, if Kyrie Irving starts passing the ball and moving the ball around and getting his teammates involved and scoring, then they Brooklyn will be a threat. They will be a threat. And they got Joe Harris too, so they got shooters. Spencer Dinwiddie's a playmaker. Karis LeVert is a scorer and a playmaker. Like Kyrie Irving, that's dangerous. And Kevin Durant's not even back yet, and I got Brooklyn at what, number 6? So imagine how good this team is going to be when Kevin Durant comes back. And don't forget about DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan is a great defensive player. So yeah, Brooklyn, they have weapons, and they might be even higher on this list at the end of the season. But no, right now I got them at 6. I don't. The expectations for Brooklyn aren't too high, you know. So yeah, that's that. Number 7, I got Toronto. Now, people might say, well, Toronto's not going to make the playoffs. They lost Kawhi Leonard and blah blah blah. Um, this team's very good. They got Serge Ibaka, Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam is coming into his own. They still got Kyle Lowry. Off the bench, they got Powell. They have what's that other guard's name? They got some good guards coming off the bench. I don't know every player's name off the top of my head, but you know, Pascal Siakam, he might win Most Improved Player if he hasn't won it already. But yeah, uh, Pascal Siakam, he's gonna be a stud pretty soon. And this team was able to win games without Kawhi Leonard. Will they win a championship? No. Will they get out the first round? I don't think so. But can they get to the playoffs? Yes. Like there's other teams out there like Miami and Washington, Orlando, maybe the Hawks. Nah, the Hawks aren't playoff contenders. But you know, there's teams out there that are going to be in the race. But um, I think Toronto is sneaking there. So I got Toronto at number 7. So number 1 I got Boston, 2 Bucks, 3 Philly, 4 Detroit, 5 Indiana, 6 Brooklyn, 7 Toronto, 8 Washington. Number 9 I got Orlando, Orlando Magic, and number 10 I had the Knicks. The Knicks are gonna surprise people. You know, they got RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's gonna struggle his first season, but you know, he's gonna show you glimpses of talent. They got Dennis Smith Jr. who's coming into his own. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. Guys that are explosive like Dennis Smith don't go long without getting injured. So, you know, prayers for Dennis Smith. Hope he stays healthy. Julius Randle is a stud, and he's going to put up some crazy numbers. Like, this guy could put up 40 and 10 or 30 and 15. Like, he has these crazy numbers, man. And he's an excellent ball handler. His shooting's getting better. You know, I think Ben Simmons is like a great value Julius Randle. Julius Randle is that good. And he's strong too. He's yeah, so Julius Randle is the reason why the Knicks will improve. Excuse me. Alright, now to the Eastern, not the Eastern, excuse me, blah, the Western Conference. So, number 1 in the West, obviously the team I despise the most, the LA Clippers. Uh, they already had Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, Montrezl Harrell. They had Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but they traded him. Like, they had good guys on that roster already, and now you don't lose any of those guys except for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander because the trade, but you traded him for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. So yeah, they're gonna be number 1. I'm a Laker fan, so this is BS. Kawhi should have went to the Lakers. But towards at the beginning of the season, they'll be a good team. They'll have a decent record. They might in the power rankings they might not be the best team because Paul George is out. But when Paul George comes back and him and Kawhi figure out how to play with each other, this team is they're gonna be damn near unstoppable. In my opinion, this is the best team that Doc Rivers has ever got a chance to coach because they are light years better than the 2008 Celtics. Are you serious? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Yeah, so number two, I got Portland. If Yusef Nurkic can stay healthy, Portland, they're gonna be the team to beat. And they almost beat Golden State last year, but they ran over everyone else. They ran over Denver and they destroyed Oklahoma City. So Portland is a threat whether you think they are or not. And they're better than Houston. They're better than the Lakers. They're better than Denver. Portland is Portland is a good team. You know, they might be able to get to the finals if they could beat the Clippers. I don't see it happening, but you know, might. Three, we got Houston, and all the Laker fans. I'm sorry, but yeah. Three, we got the Houston Rockets. Um, to me, I feel like Russell Westbrook is kind of a ball hog at points. He's too aggressive, but with James Harden and this new system, he's finally gonna have a coach that knows how to coach point guards that can't shoot. Like Mike D'Antoni is the only player that he's had that could shoot was Steve Nash. But all his other point guards were not great shooters. And what he's able to do on offense as a coach, as far as like spacing and drawing up plays, pick and roll plays and isolation plays, uh, it's really gonna help Russell Westbrook. Okay, Jeremy Lin. If you replace Jeremy Lin and Russell Westbrook on that New York Knicks team, can you imagine what type of numbers Westbrook will be putting up? And he's last season he's damn near putting up a triple double every game with a coach that can't coach. So this year he actually is going to have a coach that can coach your offense, and he's going to have shooters so he can drive and kick. He's going to have an abundance of shooting. Russell Westbrook might be an MVP candidate. I don't know, but he's gonna have some crazy numbers. Um, his assist numbers are gonna go down, and James Harden's assist numbers are gonna go down. But together, they are gonna work great. They've played together before, so you know, Houston's a threat, and they could be number. They could possibly be number one. So you know, it's just crazy. It's crazy how that trade worked out. Number four, I got Denver Nuggets. Lakers fans, I know you're still pissed and you're like, well, how can you be a Laker fan and you're putting the Lakers so down on your list? Okay, whatever. Denver's number four. I don't care. Uh, they got what's the center's name? They got Jokic. I can't say his name. Excuse me. But the center, their center is great. Jokic, he he's a great rebounder. He can pass out of the post. He's a good shot blocker. He can shoot the three. He can shoot the two. Like the guy is like Kristaps Porzingis on steroids with the better passing skills. So yeah, Denver's going to be a threat, and they have all these damn shooters. They got Michael Porter Jr. coming back from injury. They got Gary Harris, Will Barton, Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap. Do I need to fucking keep naming players? I can't name players because those are the only ones I know. But yeah, they have a lot of talent on that team. Um, I'm as a Laker fan, I'm kind of jealous. Like they have a lot of good guards, and I wish we had good guards like that, you know. But we don't. So yeah, Denver is going to be a threat for sure, for sure. Uh, how far do I see Denver going in the playoffs? Not that far. Okay, so there's only like a minute left in the game, so I'm gonna wrap it up. Five, I got LA. Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to kill teams, but our bench sucks and we can't shoot. Uh, I was watching some games last year. Like, I love Rajon Rondo, man, but dude, we lost so many games because you were missing wide open jump shots. I, man, I don't want to curse. 6, I got Utah Jazz. Uh, Utah Jazz are not going to be as good as people think they are. Yes, they got Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles. They just picked up Mike Conley. No, okay. They lost a lot of defense, and Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell couldn't fucking guard a bank if they had automatic rifles. I'm sorry. They can score. They can score like crazy, but I saw Team USA and no, like no, no defense whatsoever from Kimba and Donovan Mitchell. Uh, Overall, Utah does have a talented team. They got some good young players coming off the bench, and guys like Gobert and Ingles, they're going to kill you on different nights. So yeah, they'll be a playoff team for sure. They're well coached and they got a good roster, but they didn't get better. They took a step back, okay? They did not get better. Unless some of their young players develop or somebody comes out of nowhere, they didn't get better. 7, I got San Antonio Spurs. DeJounte Murray's coming back. Lonnie Walker, DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. They have some great players, and yeah, they're well coached. First of all, Greg Popovich could probably take a fucking varsity team to the playoffs. I don't know. I'm just making shit up, but he's a good coach. He's old as dirt, but he could coach. So yeah, I got San Antonio at 7. Golden State, I got them at number 8. They would be higher on this list, but Klay Thompson he might miss the whole season. D'Angelo Russell is going to be decent. Draymond Green is going to be decent, and Stephen Curry is going to be great, like he always is. Draymond Green's numbers might creep back up. They might look like they did in 2016. So, yeah, Golden State's going to make the playoffs for sure. And I respect them. I'm not like all these other media people that are throwing them under the bus because they lost Clay. I respect Golden State. I respect their coaching. I respect the players that they have. They went to the finals for 5 straight years. Dallas is not making the playoffs. I don't care. They're not making it. I'm sorry. They're not that good. Luka Doncic is like Tyreek Evans 2.0. Sue me. Uh, who else? New Orleans, they're going to be good, but they're not going to make the playoffs. Sacramento, unless one of these teams fall out, which I don't see happening, Sacramento's not making it either. Sacramento might be 9. Sacramento, New Orleans, Golden State, San Antonio, Dallas, they're all going to be in a damn dogfight to try to get in the playoffs. In the West, like you never really know. So, hey. Anyway, this is Pop, and these are my NBA predictions. If you have any comments or you disagree with anything, just let me know. And, we could talk about it. You know? But, anyway, see you guys later. Deuces.